Thanks, Jim. This is Justin Stone from EliteBaseball.tv coming to you with the tip of the week. Last week, I was fortunate enough to spend a week at Cubs spring training in Mesa, Arizona. And while I was there, I thought and made some notes of things that I think our listeners would be interested in from the coaching perspective. Now, my only previous experience at spring training with a professional organization was 2005 to 2008 with the Chicago White Sox. So I had an idea in my mind what this was going to look and feel like. And when I went into the Cubs spring training, it was a complete 180 from what I expected and what I was used to in a big league atmosphere. And the first reason was there was still a euphoria, of course, of the Cubs winning the World Series. So everybody was in a jovial mood and a good mood about coming to the park every day. But you hear big leaguers talk about at times that how spring training can tend to drag on, and they're long days, and you're just ready to get to the season, and it kind of becomes a drag at times. And I didn't get that feeling whatsoever. And maybe because the Cubs are younger, but they were hungry, and the speed of practice was different than I'd ever seen at a previous spring training that I'd worked at or seen from the outside. Players played hard, and players played fast. And I had the fortunate ability to go from every different field and every different level. I went from rookie ball, working with hitters and looking at hitters. I went to A ball, low A, double A, triple A, and I'd go up to the big league field. And when you're a young guy, and the big leaguers were out there before the minor league camp started, when you're a young guy in minor league camp, and you look out on a field and you see Addison Russell diving in infield practice and going at game speed in March in spring training, and I'm an 18 to 20-year-old kid, I'm thinking I probably better go hard too. So when you think about that, and you have organizations maybe in a travel program, or you're coaching multiple teams, or you're within a program that has multiple teams, use your older players to set an example for your younger players. Watch guys go hard, because that can set the tempo for the rest of your players in practice. The other thing that I liked about it is something we've mentioned on this podcast before, the structure of practice. They hit a lot of different things in short time span and kept players' attention span and tempo of practice very high. There was no downtime within the organization of this practice, and the coaches would get there from 4:30 in the morning, meet till 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning, about attentively detailing out what every minute was going to be in this practice structure, so there was no downtime for the player. And this is valuable, because if you want players to play at a fast tempo and keep practice speed intense, then you need to keep hitting things over and over again in short blocks where players don't have time to relax. Coach is looking at his sheet for the day. What are we doing next? And that 30 seconds or 1 minute it took a coach to look at a sheet and transfer between drills, you're already slowing your players down and losing their attention span, especially your own players. If you're talking about 7, 10, 12-year-old, even high school guys, we want to keep them moving with the next thing. The more organized you are in practice, the more you're going to keep your practices at a very high tempo. Attention spans stay better, you get more out of it. The next thing I saw, I spent a lot of time with the infield coordinator for the Cubs that was just outstanding. And not only was he detailed in the organization of practice, but he was detailed in what he was teaching. And sometimes our players get very complacent in going over drills that they've been doing since they were 8 or 9 years of age and are still doing them when they're 13 or 14 and think, I'm beyond this. I'm better than this drill. It was neat to see Cubs middle infielders on 2 knees working their hands out in front of them, working basic step catch fundamentals and trying to be short in their exchange and shorten their break. Things that we do with 9, 10, and 11-year-old players. It's still not too good for the professionals. The difference is the attention to detail that they put in it. They practice very simple things with an extreme eye for detail and care. So no matter what it is we're practicing in baseball, the game doesn't change from when we're 8 to when we're 28. The attention to detail gets much larger as we get in a higher level of baseball or we get older. So that's something that we can bring to all of our levels of coaching. It's not monotonous if we keep a keen eye to detail, because there's always something that we can get better at. Whether it's from our swing fundamentals off of a tee or basic ground ball play, there's always something that I could be focused on to do a little better, do a little faster, and that keeps me ingrained with my concentration in practice about a particular skill. I thought the Cubs were just outstanding at drilling the most minute of details within very simple drills. Finally, communication. 7:30 in the morning, they're doing pop fly drills. They have the same lines of communication across what they're doing with all their players. For instance, in this fly ball drill, I got it was said between the outfielders and the infielders. Infielders would wave their arms to make sure they were calling off an outfielder if they wanted a ball. And in those communication balls where we have players that could potentially have a collision, they always wanted the outfielder to go low and the infielder to stay up high. So everybody was on the same page of what they were doing, but the most important piece is everybody was talking. And I tweeted this out. If you guys follow me at Elite Baseball, Elite_baseball on Twitter. If you saw some of the things I was tweeting, these are pro adult athletes doing something that we ask our 7 and 8-year-olds to do. And then at some level, at 10 to 13 to 15-year-old baseball, it becomes too cool to do. I'm not sure when it became too cool to communicate. I'm not sure when it became too cool at the amateur level to practice hard, play hard, because the big leaguers do it too. And that's the thing that impressed me most. They played hard, they had their uniforms dirty, they practiced at an intense speed, more so than I'd ever seen at the professional level. They communicate, and you know what they were doing? They were having fun. It was the most fun atmosphere I'd ever seen with professional athletes. You can tell when they came inside the clubhouse each day, they truly enjoyed being at the park. Why can't we create that for our kids? Create an atmosphere that the kids are having fun, it keeps the practice tempo higher, and they're going to learn more because of it. So take something right here that we got from the professionals, had a great week of getting to spend some time with those pro guys, and over the next coming weeks we have some other interesting things I'll be able to bring to you, as we're going to have a European flair as I go over and train the British national team, so I hope to bring some stuff back to you with that as well. Until next time, this is Justin Stone from EliteBaseball.tv, and we'll see you on the field.